Good morning. Today is the 8th of October 2024 and I'm going to go through my trading plan for today. Before we start, let's look to see what news could move the market. We had some news at 8:30 which we had minimal impact, and then today we've got some Fed speakers throughout the day, and that's it really. Fed speakers are the main things to watch out for. Okay, so on my screen we are looking at the 1 hour time frame for the ES, which is the S&P 500 E-mini futures. We're on the hourly time frame right now, and we're currently looking at the last couple of weeks, going back to the middle of September, and you can see we've been in this sideways trend trading between these two levels for some time now, and we're still stuck between those areas. We have a lot of volume running right through the middle of it, which has acted as originally resistance, then support, then became resistance, and now it's still resistance. So this is an area I'm going to be watching, this region here. If we break above it, I'm interested in looking for a long, potentially into 5800, but up to the highs of yesterday and the day before. So I'm watching 5800 to 5812. We do have this little push up yesterday, so we can keep an eye on that area and potentially watch it for a rejection, but I'm quite keen also on looking for the pullback back down to there. So I'm looking for a break and retest below pre-market low today. So let's just zoom in to see where pre-market low is. Probably down, I'd like to see it from 3 AM, so we've had a bit of a push up. So in fact I'm not going to look for pre-market low because we are coming into this area of potential support, and we've got it there. If I zoom back out again, you can see we've had a lot of support below. This is an area of demand, so I'm going to watch for a bounce. If we get back down into this region, I'm looking for a bounce. We've got the trend line as well coming into this area as well, so this entire area is a potential bounce area. What I'm looking for, even though we had a few days where we come in as a V shape and back out again, I'm really looking for it to come in, come back, retest this area, come back out, come back into that area, and I'll be looking for the long. That's how I'll be looking to take it. I'm also looking for a rejection up in this region, same as before, so I'm looking for it to, oh, ignore that. I'm looking for it to come into this region, potentially watching that area there, this entire zone. I'm watching for a rejection, 5800, and then come back up, retest, back down again. That's what I'm looking for, that's a retest. If we can get above this 50 moving average, which is the red line, then I'll consider a break and retest long. We've got a sideways 200 moving average as well, and we've got the point of control, but this entire region is high volume, so we just need to get out of this region really. Probably the best scenario today is not to trade unless we get down into this area or we get up into this region. So these are probably the two areas we can watch. Let's get the eraser, get rid of that, and put that rectangle back. So probably these are probably the key areas, and we're sitting in between right now. Tough one. We had less volume yesterday. In fact, we've had decline in volume over the last few days, but price is going sideways. It's a tough one. The levels are not great. We've been here before, so we can only keep playing these levels until eventually they break down. Okay, so recap, 57.32, watching for a bounce, this region down to 57.27, watching, let's just draw another zone, let's draw that in there. I'm watching this area, 5800 to 5810 for a rejection, and I'm watching this area. I'm going to wait till the market opens to pick a direction. I do quite like the breakdown below that pre-market area, but it's not pre-market lows, this is the lows down here, and we've got some bottom tails, so we might have orders sitting down there, so market may want to come back down and snap them up. And that's it really. I'm going to take it really easy today. SPX, I went SPY next. We'll go to the SPX levels next. Exactly the same. You can probably draw a trend line in here. Didn't notice that trend line on the ES. Let's draw the same one in. So there's our trend line. And we've got the extension of this one, so let's just draw that up as well. And I'll zoom out so you can see where it's come from. This is this trend line on the daily, so let's just match up the pivots a little bit, so about there. So we could, and one thing, there you go. So let's just draw another line as well. I just want to see if there's any patterns here. Potentially we could be looking at this narrower where we've been coming up, coming down, coming up, coming down, and just maybe we might just fill that in before we make a decision, and that could be another 2 or 3 days. We've got earnings, financial earnings coming in this week as well. So let's just get rid of that. I don't like too many lines. I'll try and tighten up. We'll keep the top trend in, and we keep this main hourly trend in, and we'll just be interested to see what happens when we get up into. Oh, let's clear that. Yeah, I do quite like this area here. Now we've got the trend line in. I think a rejection off of that trend, which is around 57.95 to 57.800, will be an area to watch for a rejection. And obviously we've got this area here to watch for a bounce. So nothing changes, so it's just added an extra confirmation off of that trend line. Okay, SPY is the same levels. I'll just quickly go through them. We can watch for a rejection off that trend line, which will be around 570. Maybe it'll be around 572 area, and then we watch for the bounce down here. We haven't quite come down to levels I'm watching, so it's kind of a guide. Let's just move that up a bit. You know, it's a zone. What we're looking at is a zone rather than a level, a line. So we're kind of looking at this. Where's my rectangle? That area there. So we can watch that area for a bounce as well, and that's around 565 to 564 area. SPX levels. If we break down below 56.75, we've got this big gap or this big void below until we get to the next level. So this is a key area to watch today. If we break down below it, look for a break and retest of 56.78, and then I'll go on to the ES to try and find that same level for the short, and that'll be the breakdown of this area here. And then the next area to bounce here is not until we get all the way down here or the trend line. Okay, and then NQ, same trend line we can put in. In fact, you can see that's flipped, showing it a bit more bullish. So we held it there, came back out, and then finally broke through, came back and retested it. So maybe I should put my trend lines in a bit more often, because we could use that as a bounce area. A couple of days ago, came back down, look at that, it's come back down into that trend line again, and it's bounced. So we can keep an eye on this trend line, and maybe we can watch it for a bounce back down here again, which will coincide with this area of support or demand. So QQQ, let's watch 19,850 all the way up to 19,889, 19,980, so a 40-point area there. And it's probably just, this is based on hold, historic. This area here, we watch this area for a bounce, and then still quite like this area here for a rejection. And let's just make a change of that. So that's our new area from based on yesterday's move, day before. Okay, so that's 20,250. Nice psychological number. QQQ. Exactly the same. We've got this region we're watching. We really want to see it, as in the ES or the SPY or the NQ or the QQQ. We're kind of stuck, trapped between this region. We want to see it break down for sure, or at least break out and retest the high again. So let's watch 478.96, 479 for the bounce, and we can watch 488.20, 488.16, that area for the rejection. Next up is crude oil. Draw the trend line in. You can see we've finally broken that uptrend. We'll be going since the start of October. Broke it, retested it, and we've retested this trend line. We talked about this trend line as well. Remember, we flipped below it and then we flipped above it yesterday, and now we're back down below it. So we can watch for a retest of this area back down. We've got a few targets in place. Notice how predictable it is. You can pretty much see these areas have all touched the pivot or got close to touching the pivot, so we can still use these areas. That top one can probably be fine-tuned. That's just based on previous levels. No, I still quite like that area, leave it there. So we can watch for a bounce, probably where we've already bounced today. You can see the volume in that area as well, so that's definitely a decent bounce area. If we break above this trend line again and above pre-market high, then we can look for the break and retest long, and we can watch it break out, because we are looking at a pullback but on less volume. I might need to reboot my machine, it makes everything seems a bit slow. So we've got less volume here, and we're in a bit of a pullback as well, so we might just see an increase in volume and then a breakout pushing out long. So I do quite like the break of 75, 80 area long, and we can watch this area's already gone for the bounce. We've got a few bounce areas. Let's look at gold. Again, like all the other charts, it's just sitting in this range, has been now for some time. This range here, you could include that area, and it's all we can do is watch for the bounce down there, and we can watch for the rejection up here, and that's it really. So bounce at 26.51, rejection at 26.90, and obviously if it breaks those levels, we can look for the break and retest. Bitcoin, no, RTY, so I realize Bitcoin is still within this range again. I do quite like the breakout. Looks like it wants to break out here. Ideally want to get above this 15 to 200, but we can watch for a break and retest of pre-market high. You can see we're pulling back on less volume. So let's watch for a breakout over this level. It's an area of confidence as well, so we really want to get over that 50 moving average first, which is this red line. Break, come back, retest, and look for long, hopefully out of that. That's the only play to watch, and that's around 222.17 area. And now we've got the Dow Jones. Again, we're in between this range. To me, this looks like we could potentially be setting up a left shoulder, a head, and maybe a right shoulder. So if that's the case, then we might be looking for a downward pattern to come back into retest this neckline area. So let's keep an eye on that. That could be a long-term play, a swing play. We can watch the breaks and retest of the pre-market high and pre-market low. Look for a low to come back down and then a retest. We're on a bit of a 2-day downtrend, but we're still, if we go to the daily, it's still in an uptrend. So it's just a pullback in an uptrend at the moment. But we do have, like all the other charts, we'll go back to ES and analyse the daily. we do have that bounce area. There's a key area, and it looks like we bounce from it. So if we lose this area, which is around 42,000, if we lose that area, then potentially we could be looking for a bit of a pullback, maybe to these levels. But if we hold this area, we're just going to continue either going sideways or creeping up. And then Bitcoin, still well within the channels. Again, there's not much to do. Sold off, not much volume, decline in volume, below average volume. So we're looking for a breakout and a retest of this level, or we're looking for a sell off down into this lower level. Let's look at ES and on the daily, and I'll flip over to the order flow. Oh, we are on the daily already. I've been on daily on all these without realising. Oh, that's fine. So let's go to the hourly again for Dow Jones. We talked about this, didn't we? This looks like a head and shoulders pattern. Yeah, okay, back to ES, onto the hourly, sorry, daily. So we've got some key levels on the daily here. So we've got this trend line which we watched in the hourly, but we've got these darker blue lines. This is a key area, and we've been holding it up here, broken down, kind of been hovering right down the center of it. So this is that key area we talked about. We're either going to break it and hold it and push up, or we're going to lose this area in total, and then the next level down will be this pivot area confluence. You can see tops candles, bottoms of this area of confluence, bottoms of this area as well, and it's also coming down to the 50. So we can watch 50, 60, 61 long term, and if we obviously lose that area, we've got this area of confluence next. So we've got tops of candles, bottoms of candles, bottoms, bottoms. So these are the key areas, and we've got this 200 moving average will be moving up into that area as well. So these are the areas to watch out for on the swing, but the hourly area is what we're watching today. And again, like the other stocks, we could argue and say we are looking at a bit of a head and shoulders pattern. Depends where you want to see the shoulder. That could be left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Oh, put that in, and then this could be a retest. It's not great, it's not a very good pattern. I still quite like the retest of this area right into this point of control. So we know that's where the volume is. So what was the floor or support is now the ceiling or resistance. And that's it. Let's quickly flip over to the order flow. You can see I've got 4 screens. Interesting today. We've got all these orders in a similar place. So that's potential support or resistance depending on where we are. Right now we're above that area, so it could be acting as resistance. And look, we're looking, even though we're going sideways, we're putting in green deltas. You can see that here on the 5 minute as well, starting to break up over these areas, which is quite a strong area of big orders. And we've got any large orders. We've got 57.75. So we've got that area there as potential rejection area, so keep an eye on that. Big red bar indicates that. And then looking at the order flow for the 10 range. So this is a 5 minute. This is a 5 min. And this is the 10 range. Call it 10R. And so this works every 10 ticks. It gives a good indication of what's going on. This is like level 2. And then these are the 2 charts I look at mainly, these 2. So I'm basically looking at cumulative delta, or the delta should I say. And you can see here currently we've got a green bar but a red delta. We've got another green bar here. It looks like a solid green bar to most people. But look, we've got a red cumulative delta. The delta's green on that one. But what I'm really looking for is something that contradicts what we're seeing. So it looks pretty much as expected. But then I'm looking at divergence as well. So I'll be watching the price action, and I'll be watching the cumulative delta, which is going up, not quite as steep, but it's in line with each other. However, you can see we've got more aggressive buying here than we have here. We haven't been able to break over these pivots, but we have here. So that's a little bit of a delta, which shows me that we've got aggressive buying but not enough follow through. So maybe we might be looking for a bit of a reversal soon. And that might also suit our 57.72 area, watching for a rejection if we're seeing aggressive buying into that area but no follow through. Okay, that's it. I'm back tomorrow. This stream's live. Don't forget to hit